everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring the Exquisite Exandria cookbook, the official Critical Role cookbook. The fries turned out to be pretty good last week, even if I ruined the mayo, so now we're on to the side, Trinket's bear claws, and unfortunately this recipe doesn't have a story with it. But I will talk about how I used to like bear claws when I was younger, so we're going to give this a try this week to see if it recaptures that feeling. As usual for these bear claws, the ingredients are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. In order to make this recipe, you'll also probably hear the oven chirping, by the way. It's already been preheated to 400 and I've got the chicken cooking in there. To make this recipe, we need 7 ounces of almond paste, which you may remember I sourced last week, a cup of unsalted butter at room temperature, half a cup of granulated sugar, 2 large eggs, a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, plus we'll need more for dusting, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 sheets of puff pastry, which are currently in the sink finishing their thaw, half a cup of sliced almonds, 2 tablespoons of coarse sugar, I'm using organic cane sugar, a cup of confectioners sugar, aka powdered sugar, and 2 tablespoons of milk, plus more as I need it. So, let's move into the kitchen now and start putting this recipe together. We're going to start with the stand mixer and shot with the paddle attachment handled. We're going to combine the almond paste, butter, and granulated sugar. So we've got the almond paste right here. Let's see, how do I want to get this open is the question. Looks like just a pair of scissors will probably do the job. At least it should anyway. So bear with me while I try to do this without slicing my hand. Come on. There we are. Okay. I'm doing the open off camera. There we are. Hopefully I'm not going to regret sourcing that last week. Let me see if I can break it up a little bit, just to maybe make it a bit easier for it to break up. I'll give my hands a quick wash as well. So that's the almond paste. We'll go get the butter next. Here's our stick of unsalted butter. And we'll get the granulated sugar next. Here's our granulated sugar. We need half a cup of this. I'll do this over the sink. Okay. The half cup's going to stay down because I'll need that for the almonds. But I think the sugar, the granulated sugar, can go back up. Whoa! Assuming I don't start having stuff fall on me in the kitchen. So now we want to mix this up. We want to be on medium speed until the almond paste is completely incorporated into the mixture, which should take about 2 to 3 minutes. Let me see if I can break up the butter a little bit as well. Just maybe make that a bit, well, looks like looks like it's starting to come up to where I want it to be anyway. Let's lock that in place. Whoa, not that fast. We'll let that mix for about another minute. I wanted to get to the next, I wanted to do something very minor here, but given the way this is moving around, I didn't want to take a chance on this. I wanted to hold it here just to make sure the mixer doesn't go rattling on me. Okay, I think we can go ahead and kill that for the time being. What I wanted to do while I had the mixer running is I actually wanted to separate one of the eggs and add the egg white. Let me see if I can find my egg separator first. That's going to require me to move the camera, it looks like. No, it's not. Looks like I can get it. I can just barely get it out. So now I'm going to get one of my eggs and separate it. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to browbeat this along just a little bit, but probably not too much. I'm going to do the egg separation off camera since I want that. So I'm going to have to shake that up a little bit to move it. Well, maybe not too much. There we are. Easy does it. Okay. I think we got most of the white separated there. So we'll add the white, we'll add the egg white to the mix. Then I can probably drop the, I should be able to drop the yolk right back in. Yep. I'll deal with that momentarily, but before we do that, we're also going to add the flour, vanilla extract, and salt to the mixture. So this was 1/4 cup of flour. There we are. The 1/4 cup can go toward the dishes. The flour is going to stay down because we'll probably need more of that for dusting. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Right? 2 teaspoons? Yes. I'll need a little bit more. Fortunately, I had another full bottle ready to go, expecting that to be the actual result. All right, here comes the rest of the vanilla. That can go toward the dishes as well. The vanilla can go back up. And the 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. That can go toward the dishes as well. The kosher salt can go back up. And the goal now is we want to mix this. Goal now is we want to mix this on medium speed until incorporated for about 1 to 2 minutes. So once again, here's your 5. I should have given you a 5-second warning earlier, but here's another one before I turn the stand mixer back on. And we are going to watch it in real time. Excuse me. Just wiping up a little bit around the stand mixer. Especially since the next step of the recipe, which will also be the next shot, is going to call for the stand mixer to be out of shot. I'm going to fish one more thing out while that's mixing. Something I'm going to need for the next step of the recipe. Okay. We'll give that another minute. It should be incorporated by then. Okay. That should be good. So now I'll lift that out. We'll grab a spatula so I can spread some of the filling down. Get some of it back into the bowl. Let's see. Looks like you got more along this side as well. Okay. Alright. Actually, let me see if I can scrape the sides a little bit more here. There we are. And now, as I mentioned, the next step of the recipe requires the stand mixer to be out of shot, so I will see to that, and then we'll come back. We're coming back to a lightly floured workspace with one of the puff pastry sheets on it. So we're going to roll these sheets out to a 10 by 12 inch rectangle. So this is not going to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but we'll do what we can here. I'm going to be doing a fair amount of eyeballing with this. Come on. Okay, that'll probably do. So now what we want to do is now we're going to cut each sheet in half, length and half, lengthwise, actually length and widthwise. So about like that. Make sure we get some separation on those. Then we're going to take the filling that we made earlier, which I've got right here, and we're going to spread 2 heaping tablespoons on, and we're going to cut, actually, yeah, we're going to spread 2 heaping tablespoons of the filling along the long side of each half of each rectangle, with about a 1/2 inch border along the edges. So we're going to do that. Okay. Actually, let me see if I can get a little more of that off. There we go. That'll work. And then we'll come... I'll do that with the other 4 off camera, and then we'll come back... And then we'll come back with all 8 of these ready to go. I lied about the sequence of events. The reason I lied is because it actually makes more sense to do it this way. So what I've done is I took the remaining egg yolk and the other egg, and I've created an egg wash with it by breaking the other egg in and whisking it until no streaks of yolk remain. So now we're going to brush the egg wash around the border of each puff pastry and fold the puff pastry over, pinching the edges of each rectangle to seal them shut. I know this is more like a tap than a brush, but it should still do the same job. There we are. Now let's see if we can actually seal these. Let's see if we can actually get these together and seal them shut. We've got some of the filling oozing out. But I think we get the general idea there. And then once they're pinched shut, we'll move them over. I did omit a step very early in the recipe to prepare two baking sheets with parchment paper. I'm using a big baking sheet though, so I can probably get away with using one. Yeah. Let's see, then we're also going to cut those crosswise toward the folded edge 4 times, 2/3 of the way to the fold. We'll spread the cuts apart and curve the bear claw to create a crescent shape. I'm going to repeat that with all of these bear claws and then repeat all the last few steps with the other sheet of puff pastry. And we'll come back with a new battery and with those just about ready to prepare to go in the oven. I've got the bear claws all prepared here, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the egg wash and brush the tops and the sides of the bear claws. And unlike what I did earlier with more of a tap, tap, tap on the edges, this is going to be an actual brush. Okay. All right. That can go in the dishes. Now we're going to take the sliced almonds that we're going to have to slice open, because of course we are. We want 1/2 cup of these, and we're going to sprinkle them onto the bear claws. Some up over here as well. Trying to be gentle with how much I press these in to help them stick. We'll get those bagged up. Okay. Then we'll take our 2 tablespoons of cane sugar and we'll do the same thing. Excuse me. Come on. Scissors. There we are. 2 tablespoons of the cane sugar. Get a little more out. Okay. Should be able to seal that back up. Yep. Okay, now we're going to put this in our oven that we've had heating at 400. We're going to put that in for about 16 to 20 minutes, ideally until they're dark golden brown. I'm not going to worry about the filling oozing out too much. But we'll come back once the bear claws come out of the oven. So I'm going to put them in. Set the timer for 20 minutes. And we'll come back while those are cooling out of the oven. Now we're going to work on making the icing that's going to go over top of this. So we'll start off with, as the bear claws are cooling, we'll combine the confectioner's sugar and milk in a medium bowl. We've got the confectioner's, aka powdered sugar, right here. Oh boy. Well, hopefully this is still good. I didn't check the date on this, but it should be fine. I've had it sealed up nice and tight. We get a cup of sugar. That's a little bit more than a cup, but I think we can work with it. And then we want 2 tablespoons of the milk, which I've got right here. Actually, I'm going to splash in a little bit more milk, just because that was a heaping cup of the powdered sugar. So now we're going to whisk this until the sugar is dissolved. The glaze should be thick but pourable, so we can add more sugar if it's too thin, or an additional teaspoon of milk if it's too thick. So I'm definitely going to be combining this with pourability in mind. I'll bring a spatula out. I'll bring a spatula out so I'm ready to scrape additional off if we need to, which we probably will, but that's already looking very pourable. See if we can get a little bit of this sugar over into the sink. I think we have most of the sugar pretty well dissolved in here. I don't see any big pieces of it. So we'll bring the bear claws over, and we'll see that to the shock of, well, not yours truly, the filling did ooze out like crazy. So now we're going to pour this over. We're going to drizzle this over top of the bear claws. Yep. Okay. And I actually, like I said, do have the spatula in shot, so I can even scrape a little bit more out. Okay, I think that's probably about as much of the frosting as I'm going to get out. So now we'll set a timer for 15 minutes. We'll let the frosting set, then we'll come back to take a look at the finished product, then we'll be ready to head over to my desk for the taste test. I moved the bear claws over here to the table so they could continue cooling, since I needed space on the counter for something else I was working on, part of my weekly prep. Anyway, here's our first look at the finished bear claws. We're going to plate one of these, and then I'll see you guys over at my desk for the taste test. I've got one of the bear claws right here. Now, as I mentioned, the filling did ooze out a bit. Not only that, but the frosting made some of these bear claws collapse in on themselves. So there are going to be really two tests here that I go through with this. One is the obvious, how does it taste? The other is how do they travel? Essentially, how can I hold them? Do they hold steady even without some of these fell apart? Because that's a key component of bringing them into work, is they've got to be somewhat stable to survive the trip. So let's put it to both tests and see what happens. I should also mention that filled donuts aren't usually my cup of tea, which may be why you saw a fork over here before the taste test started. Fortunately, I didn't need the fork. Everything held just fine. It didn't crumble in my hand as I was holding it, and it actually tasted really good. I'm very happy with how the taste turned out on these. So these will probably come into work, what's left of them, after I offer them to my game group this weekend. But that's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Next week we will be making the entree, coffee. It's basically fried chicken with coffee bacon gravy. As for what else is coming up on the channel, I'm hoping to do 2 blocks in the 2009-10 hockey season replay today. First up, we will be at Wells Fargo Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as the New Jersey Devils will be playing the Philadelphia Flyers. Sunday morning, we'll be playing Space Corp 2025 to 2300 by GMT Games. And Wednesday next week, we will be playing Twilight Inscription. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone. Thank you.